Welcome back. In this section, we'll focus on the benefits of peer support in law enforcement and corrections, exploring how these programs can improve emotional health, strengthen morale, and help agencies build a more resilient workforce. We'll also discuss how individuals recover from traumatic stress, emphasizing practical steps, support strategies, and the importance of early intervention. Finally, we'll take a closer look at Missouri's peer support law, which provides important legal protections for officers who participate in peer support programs. Let's dive in. There are significant and well-documented benefits to implementing peer support programs in law enforcement and corrections, and it is critically important that officers and staff understand these benefits. Here are a few from The Power of Connection: Why Peer Support is Vital for Law Enforcement's Mental Health, published May 11, 2023. Increased emotional resilience and coping skills. Peer support programs have been shown to help officers develop greater emotional resilience and coping skills. By talking with peers who have been through similar experiences, officers can learn new ways to handle stress, trauma, and other challenging emotions. Improved job satisfaction and morale. Peer support programs can also positively impact job satisfaction and morale among law enforcement officers. When officers feel supported by their colleagues, they are more likely to enjoy their work and feel motivated to do their best. Reduced stigma around seeking help for mental health issues. One significant benefit of peer support programs is that they help reduce the stigma around seeking help for mental health issues. Through peer support programs, officers can see that seeking help is common and encouraged. As fellow law enforcement professionals share stories about how seeking help benefited them personally or professionally, others may be inspired to take similar steps toward better mental health. It is critically important for law enforcement and corrections staff to recover from traumatic stress, not just for their own health, but for the safety, effectiveness, and integrity of the profession as a whole. Unresolved traumatic stress can interfere with an officer's ability to think clearly, regulate emotions, and assess risk accurately. It can lead to poor judgment, overreaction, or hesitation in critical moments. It can also impair interpersonal skills, communication, and teamwork, all of which are essential in high-stakes environments like jails, prisons, and the streets. The public expects law enforcement and corrections professionals to act with fairness, professionalism, and sound judgment. Officers who have not processed their own trauma may struggle to interact with the public or inmates in a healthy, constructive way. Public trust depends on the mental readiness and emotional regulation of those who serve. Healthy officers build safe communities. Recovering from traumatic stress isn't optional, it's essential. Recovery doesn't mean forgetting, it means processing. Recovering from traumatic stress isn't about pretending it didn't happen. It means acknowledging the impact, learning how to process the emotions and memories in a healthy way, and regaining control over how those experiences affect your daily life. It's about moving through it, not around it. There is no one-size-fits-all timeline. Recovery is not linear, and it doesn't happen on a set schedule. Some people process events quickly, while others need more time. What matters most is that you don't get stuck in silence or denial. The earlier you acknowledge what you're going through, the sooner you can begin to feel better. Isolation slows recovery. Many officers instinctively withdraw after a traumatic experience, either because they don't want to burden others or because they're afraid of being judged. But isolation can prolong suffering. Recovering from traumatic stress isn't just about feeling better. It's about preserving your career, your relationships, and your future. Strong officers take care of themselves and each other. There are real, practical tools and resources that can help law enforcement and corrections professionals recover from traumatic stress. Recovery isn't just about time passing, it's about what you do during that time. Consistent self-care and the use of proven strategies can significantly strengthen your ability to heal and regain a sense of balance. Here are some of the things to consider. Physical activity, even something as simple as going for a walk or lifting weights, can help release stress, regulate mood, and support overall mental health. Regular exercise is one of the most effective ways to manage anxiety and improve sleep. Sleep hygiene is also critical. Trauma and stress often disrupt sleep, and poor sleep only worsens emotional regulation and focus. Establishing a consistent sleep routine, limiting screen time before bed, and avoiding alcohol or caffeine late in the day can make a big difference. Good nutrition matters too. The food you eat impacts brain chemistry, energy levels, and mood. A balanced diet with adequate hydration can help stabilize your physical and emotional health during recovery. Just as important is spending time with people who care about you. Social connection is a key factor in resilience. Whether it's family, friends, or trusted peers, taking time to connect and talk with others can ease the isolation that often comes with trauma. Talking with a peer supporter is another powerful resource. These are people trained to listen and understand, who know what the job entails and can offer insight without judgment. Peer support isn't therapy. It's a form of guided connection that can help normalize what you're feeling and encourage the next steps. Sometimes, what's needed goes deeper. Professional counseling or trauma therapy can provide structured, evidence-based treatment for those struggling with PTSD, depression, or prolonged grief. Therapists trained in first responder culture can offer a confidential space to work through the hardest experiences. Finally, tools like mindfulness, breathing exercises, or spiritual practices can help calm the nervous system and restore a sense of control. Whether through quiet reflection, meditation, prayer, or grounding techniques, these practices allow you to slow down and recenter when the world feels overwhelming. The important thing to remember is that recovery is not passive, it's active. And these tools, when used regularly, can make the road back not only possible, but sustainable. In the 5th edition of the Police and Sheriff Peer Support Team Manual, author Jack A. Digliani stresses how it is important for law enforcement and corrections officers to remember that critical incidents happen because you are an officer and there are circumstances beyond your control, not because of who you are as a person. Your reactions are part of the human survival response, not a flaw in your character. According to the manual, the first step is to accept your emotions rather than suppress or judge them. Feelings such as fear, anger, confusion, sadness, or even numbness are all valid and expected. These emotional responses are part of the body's natural effort to protect and process what happened. Next, it's crucial to acknowledge your vulnerability. Experiencing fear during a high-stress situation doesn't make you weak. It confirms that you're human. Recognizing that fear existed allows you to reconnect with your officer safety training, reminding you that fear can be a cue for action and survival, not paralysis. Understand that your survival instinct served you during the incident, and it continues to be an asset. It kicked in when you needed it most, and it will do so again if the need arises. If you find yourself troubled by a perceived lack of control, try to focus instead on what you did control. Whether it was a decision, a movement, or a command, you made choices in the moment that mattered. Avoid the temptation to second-guess your actions. Evaluate them based on the information and perceptions you had at the time of the incident, not with the benefit of hindsight. You were likely forced to make a critical decision in a matter of seconds, and you did what your training and instinct told you to do. Even if you have mixed feelings about how you responded, try to accept that your behavior matched your perception and emotional state at that time. No one is perfect under stress. There may be things you'd do differently, but there are also things you did well. Focus on those. Even outcomes that turn out well are often the result of less than perfect actions. That's the nature of real-world policing and corrections work. Keep in mind that you may also be dealing with external responses from the system, a DA's office review, an administrative investigation, media scrutiny, or public reaction. It's easy to take these responses personally, but it's critical to keep them in perspective. Each of those systems has its own priorities and procedures, many of which are out of your control. What you can control is your response moving forward. You can choose to take care of yourself, to process your emotions, to lean on your support network, and to continue your path forward. Trauma may change you, but recovery strengthens you. Throughout this training, we've spent time addressing one of the biggest barriers to officer wellness: the stigma around seeking help. We've acknowledged that many law enforcement and corrections professionals are afraid to speak openly about their struggles, not because they don't want help, but because they fear the consequences of being honest about how they feel. One of the most common concerns from officers is this: what if my agency finds out what I'm going through? Or, what if someone uses what I say against me? That fear is real, and it goes back to one core issue: confidentiality. When someone feels that their privacy isn't protected, it becomes almost impossible to be vulnerable. Even peer support, which is designed to be informal, non-clinical, and judgment-free, can feel risky if an officer isn't sure whether what they share will stay private. This fear creates a culture of silence, where officers struggle alone rather than reach out, and the stigma continues. But there's good news. In Missouri, steps have been taken to address this fear and reduce the stigma surrounding peer support. Missouri's peer support law was created to help protect confidentiality during peer support interactions, and to give officers the peace of mind they need to speak openly and honestly when reaching out for help. Let's break down exactly how Missouri's peer support law works, what it protects, and why it's such a powerful tool in building trust around peer support. By understanding this law, officers and staff can feel more confident that their conversations with peer support specialists are protected, encouraging more people to get the support they need without fear or hesitation. Under Missouri's peer support law, confidentiality is a foundational protection designed to give officers the confidence to seek support without fear of exposure. According to the law, any communication made during a peer support counseling session, whether spoken or written, is strictly confidential. This includes anything shared by the person seeking support, as well as anything said by the peer support specialist during the session. That information cannot be disclosed by anyone who was involved in the session. Confidentiality also extends to communications between peer support specialists, as well as any exchanges between peer supporters and Employee Assistance Program staff or supervisors. Even when peer support specialists consult or coordinate with EAP professionals to ensure someone gets the help they need, those discussions remain protected and confidential. However, it's important to note that this legal protection applies specifically to sessions conducted by a designated peer support specialist. This means the confidentiality guarantees do not automatically apply to casual conversations or informal check-ins unless they are part of an actual peer support counseling session. Also, confidentiality does not apply to threat of suicide or criminal act made by a participant in a peer support counseling session, or any information conveyed in a peer support counseling session relating to a threat of suicide or criminal act, abuse of spouses, children, or the elderly, admission of criminal conduct or other information that is required to be reported by law. It is important that you familiarize yourself with the law and/or seek legal counsel with any legal matter, including confidentiality, under the Missouri Peer Support Law. As we prepare to close, let's recap what we covered in this section. In this section, we focused on the benefits of peer support in law enforcement and corrections, exploring how these programs can improve emotional health, strengthen morale, and help agencies build a more resilient workforce. We'll also discuss how individuals recover from traumatic stress, emphasizing practical steps, support strategies, and the importance of early intervention. Finally, we covered Missouri's peer support law, which provides important legal protections for officers who participate in peer support programs. As we wrap up this presentation on the importance of peer support in law enforcement, I want to thank each of you, not just for taking the course, but for leaning into a topic that isn't always easy to talk about. This isn't just theory. This is about our lives, our partners, and the future of our profession. Now, the challenge is this. Don't let this stay in the classroom. Take what you've learned and use it. If you're struggling, talk to someone. If you see a teammate slipping, say something. If you're trained as a peer supporter, be visible, be approachable, and keep showing up. And no matter your rank or role, be the kind of person who makes it safe for others to speak honestly. Stay safe, stay sharp, and take care of each other.